Good afternoon. We're here at Lajisim Malaysia 2024 and I have the pleasure of meeting with Mr. Nazri Khalid, maritime specialist, commentator, logistics superstar, as he was referred to in the actual event, and a frequent speaker at logistics events. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Erica.
Could you just, you covered a lot in the event, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, about the changing principles of the industry. I wouldn't mind you mentioning the acronym you brought up, VUCA,
Okay.
and maybe just share, we have an international audience here,
Sure.
the landscape of Malaysia.
Well, let's start with VUCA. That's quite easy to explain. I think it's a term which has been circulating for a couple of years now, which stands for vulnerability, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity.
Yeah.
So we live in a world which is, a world in flux, which is changing by the second. A lot of major mega trends as covered during my keynote address, including technological advance, geopolitics, changing trade and consumer pattern, growing focus on ESG and so on, and also changing facet of human capital requirement in the industry, especially when it comes to skilled human capitals and also manpower, or the human capital, which is able to operate in a very complex and sophisticated supply chain. So all this is changing the landscape of logistics and also supply chain management.
Sure.
To ensure that goods are delivered from the point of production to the point of consumption in good time, in accordance with the specification of the customers, and then also at the lowest cost possible, observing economies of scale and so on. And again, things have changed to the point where only a couple of years ago we were talking about just-in-time production, zero inventory, but now people are shifting towards just in case, just to accommodate all these changes which are happening at a very rapid pace.
Yeah.
So it's no longer, but supply chain used to be designed to deliver goods in adherence to the principles of lowering costs at the fastest time possible, but now it's all about taking into account the VUCA environment that they're in. So things are happening at a rapid pace, and logistics players would do well to cope with the changes and also to remain profitable. That's very important as well.
And whilst lean plays a particularly important place still in the logistics and supply chain network, to your point, it doesn't do us very much good anymore to be as lean as we used to.
Exactly, because with what's happening now with U.S. Under the Biden administration about the impose of trade sanctions on China, for example, that has caused almost like a scramble among producers and among also businesses and industries to stock up their inventory to a point where ports are suffering from immense congestion now.
Yep.
And also that has pushed up freight rates to levels which are almost unseen pre-COVID days. So all this again shows the new facets of logistics, which is changing almost, I would say, beyond recognition, and maybe it's no longer going to be business as usual in logistics.
Absolutely.
Because of this, and kick in trade protectionism and nervousness of countries for another round of, for example, unbudgeted major event like COVID, like wars, like trade sanctions and so on. So you can imagine how complex the supply chain, the global supply chain especially, and because things are getting more integrated, and no industry, no country is an island anymore. So what affects one affects the other. So you can see some kind of a domino effect happening here.
As a Malaysian, I've been dying to ask this question. You brought up human capital, and we're all, humans in general are under the big question mark of AI and taking our jobs. But logistics and supply chain here, I'm not seeing that it's what the younger people seem to wanting to be migrating to. It used to be just the truck driver job was the one that was difficult. Now it's actually that skilled
Exactly.
trade, the labor, all the way up to the management
That, Erica,
level.
actually is a reflection of how logistics has there's an upping of the ante happening here.
Yeah.
It used to be when you tell your parents after school you wanted to join logistics, and you're going to be a truck driver or work at a port, right? But now it's no longer that. It's about logistics is the width and breadth and expense and the complexity of the logistics universe or ecosystem can accommodate people of various skills, various backgrounds, people in business, IT now, especially with the advent of digitalization and advent of application of Industry 4.0. in the logistics realm, we can see the entrance of a lot more people who are IT savvy,
Yep.
the young people who are, very comfortable working
Yep.
with, AI and digital environment and so on. And they are also consumers of logistics services. These are people who shop online, they procure things through online means, through trading platforms on Amazon, eBay, and so on. So they're getting more, and they see that they can play a role in it. So I think that is one of the good things that has been happening with the digitalization of the advent of computer technologies and also internet, that it is attracting more people coming into it. But having said that, I must mention this very important factor, that it also opens up a lot of room for innovation and creativity. These are two words you don't normally associate with
No.
logistics.
Because that's a variable.
Exactly.
It's a variable.
Normally it says, logistics is about carrying containers, working
Yeah.
in dirty, dusty, dangerous
Yep.
environment, the 3D effect. But it's attracting a lot more people now working behind the scene. For example, working with blockchain technology, AI, Internet of Things, big data analytics, sensors, drones, remote vehicles, 3D, additive manufacturing, and so on.
Yeah.
So long may this trend continue. Yeah, it can be complex. It can cause a lot of headaches and sleepless nights for logistics
Yeah,
operators. But
absolutely.
at the same time, these are exciting times.
Well, as veterans, I believe I'm probably putting myself in there as of the logistics profession. The digital side I get, and that creativity side, yes, it's created massive change. But how do we encourage our young people when they go off to school and you're a scholar
Yeah.
to take up supply chain, to take up maritime studies, to take,
Yeah.
to want to go into those fields and not accidentally fall into?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's got to be a lot more effort coming from the industry practitioners and also those who are in the business, players, industry players, to make it more sexy.
Exactly.
Pardon my French.
No,
But
no.
why is it that, for example, think about it. Why is it that many people want to become brokers?
Yep.
Maybe they were influenced by. I'm 58 years old. I wanted to become a stockbroker because I watched Wall Street in 1987 6 or 7 times. I wanted to be Gordon Gekko or Bud Fox, right?
Garden gecko.
So maybe they should make a Hollywood movie
Yeah.
about logistics, about how
Make
great
it sexy
is.
again. And now there's massive enrollment at
But
the
not only
university.
that, I think it goes beyond that. I think it goes beyond awareness, also making the remuneration package attractive, career prospect attractive, and so on. So that's one. But the other thing also, there's got to be a lot more effort for people in the industry and also for regulatory authorities, even for universities, higher learning institutions, to package their logistics program in such a way that it can attract the best minds. It's not just no longer the periphery. If you can't get into grad school, you can't get into Ivy League school. Okay, you go join some second tier logistics school somewhere. It shouldn't be like that.
It needs to be
but
raised up to the
at the same time, it's got to be, like I said, a concerted effort by all involved. To attract the bright minds. And I think the game is changing. I think the landscape is changing because of, like I said, the event of internet and also digitalization has also attracted a lot more young people who are very comfortable working with internet and digital realm
Yep.
to join the logistics part of it. And I think the Gen Z, or whatever you want to call it, whatever gen there is now, the millennials, they know that their views are appreciated, and innovation, creativity are all order of the day in logistics. So it's no longer that old stoic, boring industry.
And rough.
You're in
And
rough.
rough,
Yeah. I mentioned 3D,
Yeah,
dirty,
yeah.
dusty, and dangerous.
That's the first time I've heard that one. I will use that. It is true.
And you can actually, be part of the logistics ecosystem and in the profession by just staying in a comfortable surrounding and just doing planning and doing, for example, and you can leverage on AI in order to do procurement, to source out for suppliers and raw
Sustainability
materials and so on. Yeah,
practices,
there you go. And
absolutely.
with the advent of ESG as well. So these are things which are values which are aligned to the values of young people, the ESG
Yep.
thing, environmental protection, conservation, and also good governance, social aspect of the work.
Excellent. It's good to hear that. And we definitely need to encourage the industry to change and shift and
Sure,
appeal
Eric.
for that, or we're going to
And I'm sure Export TV will also have a big role to play.
Oh yes, absolutely.
to-
and you front and center with that discussion, because you don't get
Yeah.
many of those discussions, particularly at in trade events and things.
Yeah.
We're just talking to people about
Yeah.
the digitalization or the automation or this or that. definitely
Yeah.
that. So I know that you have to get running. I wanted to ask, did you enjoy your time? at
Oh,
La Vista?
immensely. I always
Yes,
enjoy
love it.
meeting of minds like this because I always unpack new ideas. We get to share ideas and also test new ideas, which we thought, maybe that's not a good thing. But when you go on stage and you start to see, light bulbs appearing over, people said over some idea that you have propagated, and oh yeah, maybe there's some mileage in that. And then we continue with concurrent discussions on aspects of different facets of logistics and supply chain, which actually goes beyond more than the basic understanding, with all due respect, of average Joes and Janes.
Yeah.
It's a lot more complex than that. It's actually part of our lives. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
90% of goods that we wear come from, for example, logistics, services, and so on. Almost all, and let's say even more than 90%. So logistics is actually so embedded in us, we hardly think about it. That's how important it is. It's actually like oxygen. If only you're stuck in an elevator, that you start to panic and think about oxygen deficit, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you breathe in and out a couple 100,000 times a day. You don't even think about it. So logistics is almost like that.
Yep.
Only when something is wrong with logistics
Then
and
I'll be
supply
like-
chain, then we start thinking about
Then it
it.
becomes its own superstar and not in a good
That's
way.
how
Yeah.
embedded it is into our lives.
Oh, thank you very much,
All right.
Nazri. I
There we go.
appreciate meeting
It's a
you.
pleasure.
And you
All
enjoy
right.
the rest of your afternoon.
Go
Bye.
Import Expert TV.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly. Thank
All right,
you.
take care.
Bye.